Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this video on writing top-level excellent personal statements. Now, this is not a biology video, it's a bit different, but this is something that I've been doing for probably about 16 years. It's checking personal statements and being involved in the UCAS process and so on and so forth, and I get the same questions all the time, so I'm going to put them all in this video, and hopefully that will help you make the most of those 4,000 precious characters. So, moving quickly on, the key principles I'm going to go through in this video basically is if you are applying for something, be it a university place, that doesn't have to be Oxford, Cambridge, it could be a Russel Group place, it could be a new university, it could be a degree apprenticeship, it could be a job. The key principles are the same. Basically, you're stating, if it's an academic course you're applying for, that you are the academic elite, so that they should take you over somebody else. So therefore, basic organisation stuff, before we even get to writing the personal statement, you should be able to organise yourself with regard to your emails and your application and so on and so forth. Take responsibility for your application and your emails. Manage your time well, of course. Write in English, more on that later. Obviously, that's very important. And obviously take advice, but like this is all advice. But remember, it's your personal statement. Ultimately, it has to reflect you and has to be about you. Okay, so don't worry too much if it isn't exactly what people like me tell you to do. So, moving on, why is it so hard and why is it so important? Well, basically, if we have a look at this chart here, now I like to show this chart. Now, this is an extreme example because it's Oxford and Cambridge, but it could apply to literally anything else. Just getting the grades, as you can see up here, this is, I think, the 2017 cohort of applications. So, Cambridge in 2017 received 3,078 applications for courses where the student was predicted 3A stars. And only 53% of those students got an offer. That is mad, 1 in 2. So you got AAA star, right? What else do you have to do? As you can see, Oxford even more exacting at 43%. And when you come down to the bottom here, look, A star AA, which is still an amazing result if that's what you should end up getting. And these are predictions, of course. 1 in 5 people, 20%. So the personal statement is part of getting you into that 1 in 5, getting you into that 1 in 2 or whatever it might be. So that makes you stand out. So essentially, you've got 4,000 characters to do so. You've got 4,000 characters to prove that you are better than the other people in that category. Okay? So what do they want? What are they actually looking for? Well, they're looking to see that you understand what's involved in the course, not that you understand the subject, but you understand the level of academic rigour or employment rigour, or that you fit in with a company, if it's a degree apprenticeship, or whatever it might be, right? Are you up to it, both academically and personally, right? Are you robust enough, resilient enough, and are you up to it in terms of your academics? And do you have the skills to fulfill the role or the course that they're looking for, okay? And they don't want you to say those things, because everyone can do that in any interview or any application. Are you up to this? Yes, I am. No one's going to go, nah, but I thought I'd apply anyway, right? So what have you done to prove it? What can you do to show that you are up to it? Okay, so before a personal statement, and this is basically sort of the sifting thing from universities, it may end up that your personal statement doesn't even get looked at. You may get an offer or get rejected without the thing ever being looked at. So first thing they're going to look at is your predicted A grades. Have you met the bar? More on that later. They might look at your GCSE grades depending on the job, the company, the university, whatever it is you're applying to. They might look at your subjects, okay? So for example, if you're applying for medicine, then you're going to have some sort of chemistry, biology, other sciencey mix, okay? Same sort of thing, other subjects have specific requirements. For example, computer science would like you to have some maths, obviously, right? School reference, they're going to look at what we've said about you, where you are in the cohort, what we think of you, and then lastly, they'll look at your statement. And if they get down to that point, then they're looking at the statement. So what does this mean for you, really, when you're writing a statement? Well, if the statement is going to be read, and there are certain courses where it always will be, but if it is going to be read, basically it means you're in a pile of people who have exactly the same grades, the same predictions, the same glowing reference from their school. So then how do you make yourself different? How do you stand out, right? So if they're looking at personal statements, they've already got a load of people applying for medicine who do chemistry and biology and are getting A's and A stars, or, you know, economics people who do economics A level and say they're interested in economics, right? So you need to make yourself stand out differently. And this, if you don't take anything else away from this video, this is the most important slide probably, right? Basically, this is how I would advise you to write a personal statement. What is it that you've done to start with? What thing have you done or seen or read or been to or stayed on or whatever? And it doesn't have to be super high level. If you're writing, oh, well, I've done a work experience where I shadowed the Home Secretary for a week. It doesn't necessarily say anything about you on its own. It just says daddy knows someone in the civil service or mummy's a politician, right? It doesn't say anything about you. And if you basically then said, oh, well, it was all right, biscuits were okay, that's not as impressive as someone who's read a book but has something meaningful to say about it. Okay, so what have you done? Is it work experience, cool job, personal experience of some kind, extensive reading, even YouTube videos, podcasts, things like that? What have you actually done within and above the subject? And then crucially, this middle bit, what did you learn from it? Okay, what did you actually learn from it? What is it you know now? What's it like to be, a barrister? Do you now understand what it means to take the bar? And so on and so forth, okay? And through those two things, you should be showing what this says about you, right? You should literally be showing, not saying, okay? Does it show you're particularly ambitious, determined, self-motivated, organised? Do you have particular empathy, particular skills? Don't say those things. Anyone can say them. You need to show them through what you've done and what you learn from it, right? That's basically the idea. So that's the number one sort of structure. Rinse and repeat on that. Top tips go as follows, right? It's a personal statement. It needs to be about you. It winds me up when people sort of give me a personal statement and the first whole chunk is about the subject. You're applying to people who do the subject, right? So you don't want to write a whole thing about, how amazing English is and write it to an English professor because they know and they know a lot more than you do. And people sort of go, and it really winds me up, they go to full Brian Cox on it, the physics ones, ain't space amazing, ain't space brilliant, and parsecs and star formation over here, and that doesn't tell them anything about you. It tells them about, the subject, and they know, right? So show the admissions tutor how interested you are in your subjects through things that you have done and what you thought of them, not by telling them their own subject, okay? Don't be too fancy. Now, this can go one of two ways, right? You've either got people who try and go big, ethereal, Brian Coxing it, or you have people who come across as some kind of Dickensian or Edwardian gent. Forsooth, good sir, I wish to apply to your noble establishment for my cerebral emolument and furtherment of my academic fervour, right? What? You don't talk like that, so don't write like that, right? Don't try and be too fancy. Be simple, be to the point, and actually say what you mean. I would say the banned words are things like enchanted, entranced, incredible, adore, because they're cheesy and they're hyperbole, and they don't say anything about you. And the ultimate banned one is passionate. You should obviously show that you are passionate about the subject, but do not say it. There's nothing more depressing than someone going, I am very passionate about forensic accountancy. No, you're not. This is my opinion, I don't believe anyone's passionate about accountancy, right? Nobody's passionate about accountancy. You just want a big paycheck, so don't lie. On that note, don't lie either actively by saying you've done things or read things that you haven't, because you will get called on it, or through hyperbole. Don't say, ever since I was 2, I have dreamed of being an economist. No. When you were 2, it's a lie. You weren't into economics when you were 2, you were into custard and jumping, right? So don't do that. Right? So, read your statement out loud to yourself. Most bad English, which is the next point, bad English simply unacceptable, will be picked up by that, okay? If I read poor sentence construction or missed words or whatever this, I'm not going to correct them for you. I'm not a proofreading service, and nobody else should either. You're saying you want to apply to this university or this job or this company or whatever, you should be on it enough to get that right yourself, okay? So I always think of this ancient Simpsons reference from when Kang and Kodos, the aliens, took over the American presidential candidates, and they're giving a speech and it sounds really weird with sentences like, ever since I was a boy, I dreamed of being a baseball. And that's basically how a lot of personal statements sound to me, right, when I'm reading them. So proofread them, check them, don't make basic English errors, okay? Structure-wise, at least 3/4 on academic structure and suitability, on sort of academic suitability. Don't tell them about extracurricular and things that don't, unless you're applying for sports science, no one cares you were captain of the football team. No one cares you were the lead in the play either, really, unless you're applying for drama or related courses, okay? Unless you're going to make something of it, it's not relevant. Starting is the hardest thing, right? So I'd start with a bullet point list of all the things you've done, expand them out to sentences, expand them out to paragraphs, because the blank page is the most intimidating thing, I would say, right? The intro, why is this subject good for you? Not, why is subject good? That is a different thing, okay? As I've said before. Paragraphs 1, 2 and 3, see previous flow diagram, rinse and repeat. What have you done? Why did you learn? What did you learn about it? And therefore through that, what does it show about you? Most impressive thing, start with that and then work your way down. That's important as well. And obviously include some variety. We want super curricular things. We want reading, we want podcasts, we want documentaries you might have watched, or we want work experiences and things like that. Of course, during the pandemic, very difficult to do, but it's not really about the thing itself. It's about what you've done to show that you want to do that subject, okay? So with extracurricular, be very, very careful. Unless it says something about you, leave it out. Okay, some universities may have an exception to that. So for example, if you're applying to Loughborough for anything, that's where all the high performance sports teams are. And obviously they'd be very interested if you were like an under 19s, competitor in hockey for England, right? They'd be very interested in that. That's one I've just read this morning, said that, but it was a small bit at the end. Okay, so that's that one. And in terms of conclusions, add what you think it could lead to in a career. No one's going to hold you to it, but they want to see that you've thought this degree could actually lead somewhere, or this apprenticeship could lead somewhere, not just I want to go to it because I want to leave home, right? It's the least bad thing. Now, no one's going to turn up to your house when you're 21 and go, you said you wanted to be a journalist and you're not a journalist. No one's going to do that. It's just demonstrating that you've read some things and thought some stuff, and that's all there is to it. Okay, so statement rules, obviously teachers and lots of other people who you might get to check are busy people. So take advice. If someone's bothered to give it, act on it. Bad English will be ignored. As I said, the English department is not a proofreading service. They always get people they haven't seen in years or never seen anyone or never seen turning up and asking for proofreading services, and accept some people's opinions might differ, right? It is opinion. Ultimately, once it's down to that sort of level, what we tend to get is people who mail shot lots of teachers, and lots of people outside school don't do that, because obviously then we're all correcting the same things. And then you get people going, oh, well, I didn't know what to do because I wasn't given any helpful thing because Mr. This said that and Miss This said that and they were different. Yeah, of course they were, because they're opinion, right? It's your statement. You make a decision, right? One person might think one thing, one person might think another, right? So don't give it all this kind of, oh, I didn't get any structure, all that kind of stuff, which is not a piece of schoolwork, right? It's not a test. It's not the right answer, right? It's a personal statement. So next one, finally, of course, get it done. Of course, the earlier you do this, the better, because of course it gives teachers more time to write references, which most of them will have done before you've done your personal statement. But also, UCAS say there's no advantage to applying early. I don't believe that's true, because people get offers almost immediately when they apply. So they apply for something and they get an offer straight back, which means that's one fewer offer that university can give out for that course. So therefore the pool of offers is shrinking, right? The longer you leave it. That must be true. Unless, of course, someone from UCAS wants to get in touch and tell me why that line of logic is not right. That's basically the logic, okay? So get it done, okay? Now, just to finish off, some FAQs that I always get from students when I do sort of assembly or presentation like this, applying to different courses with one personal statement. So let's say you've got full medicine and a biomed, or something, or full medicine and a pharmacy or whatever. How do you do that? Well, I would say if you've done what I've said previously and the personal statement is about you, not the subject, it's not a problem, right? The same skills should be able to be transferable to anything that you're applying to. If you are applying to, 2 chemistry courses, a history and an economics, well, then I'd think, why are you doing that? What do you actually want to do? Right, and narrow it down to a subject area. But if you're applying for a chemistry, a biochemistry, a medicinal chemistry and a chemical engineering, well, that's fine, isn't it? The same sort of skills that you have, which what your personal statement should be about, would apply to all of them, right? So that's the answer to that one. Talking to specific universities, ever since I was a kid, I've dreamed of going to Cambridge. Well, your 4 other universities aren't going to take to that very well, are they? The personal statement should be about you, not the university and not the course, right? Gaming the system. We always get students who go, oh, well, I kind of want to do this course, but loads of people apply to that. If I apply to this course over here, fewer people do it. It's not really what I want to do, but I've got a better chance of getting in. Well, that way madness lies. You just disappear down a rabbit hole of, sort of tinfoil hatting, Googling all the, or who applies to this, where do they come from, that kind of stuff. Who's applying from my region? Is there a problem? Is there a thing from this school or that school? You can't possibly do it. And you might end up, if it works, the best that happens is you do a course that you didn't really want to do. So I would say, do you want to go to that city or that town? Do you want to go and do that course? Do you want to work for that company? If yes, apply. If no, don't. It's that simple, right? Don't try and game the system, okay? Now, pitching to the right university for your ability is a big one. Don't badger your teachers to go, oh, I need you to predict me an A so I can go to this course. Well, that's the tail wagging the dog. That's completely backwards. Universities have set their entry criteria, in theory, to a level that matches the academic standard of their courses, right? Therefore, when we do a prediction, we're saying, yes, we think this student will get that. Now, imagine we did just go, yeah, sure, everyone can have an A, right? What would happen is either there's going to be tears on results day when you don't get an A, or worse, the university is going to let you in and you've paid £9,000 and then the academic level is too hard for you, right? I would much rather make a student upset and have the tears now around predictions than tears on results day or tears in first year of university when they're out the door and gone and there's nothing I can do about that. Okay, so that's my attitude on pitching the university for the right ability. So do sort of think about that. Now, the flip side of that, of course, is don't undersell. Lots of students go, oh, I'll just apply to the ones that I'm definitely going to get into because then I won't be disappointed. If you want to go to a university and there's a chance you're going to get the grades, apply, do it, right? The worst they can say is no, but remember you can say no too. If you get a load of offers and you actually change your mind and go, no, I don't want to go, that's fine. Until you sign on the dotted line and lay your £9,000 down, you are the customer, right? You are in the driving seat. So don't feel like you're wasting a slot by putting on something that's maybe a little bit aspirational, because I fundamentally don't believe anyone can be in love with more than 5 universities at the age of 17. It just doesn't seem likely. Okay, so those are my sort of answers to the FAQs. Any more, you can obviously get in touch. Okay, so that's it. Go forth, do things, make things happen, and good luck with it all. And I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.